America.
Do you harbour any resentment towards these parole boards that just kept you in there for political purposes? You could have got out after 13 years.
Well, here's the thing.
20 more years into your sentence.
I was very angry about the fact that they didn't follow the law.
Okay.
Because that's my whole thing. Is all I ever asked them to do was follow their law.
Yeah.
Their laws said this. And one of the things about ex post facto, ex post facto is in the U.S. Constitution and the California State Constitution.
Yeah.
It says you will not make a law that will negatively affect and run retroactive back. It's against the Constitution, both state and federal.
Yeah.
And yet both state and federal said, well, it's not really that bad. But it is that bad if you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the parole boards, one of the things that we've learned is that some of the stuff they had were lies. And based on those lies, they were making the best decision they could at that time.
Yeah.
So as far as that, I don't have a problem so much with. What I have a problem is when we pointed out the lies to them, they go, yeah, we don't care. That's when the problem came up. Because if you know something was done wrong and you don't do anything about it, then it kind of makes you culpable to it.
The system always protects itself.
Yeah, and that's kind of the big thing. Which is why, like I said, when some of the staff that stood up for me,
Yeah.
and they went against the system.
Yeah.
But what was funny is that, particularly when the hardliners did it, then even more staff, they weren't nearly as hardline, but they just kind of stand off.
Yeah.
Said, well, heck, if he'll stand up for him, I got to stand up for him.
Yeah.
And so, all in all, it came pretty good. And then the same thing is, like I said, I'm still in touch with a few of the guys that I did time with because
Yeah, you bonded.
I bonded over years, and and the thing was that some of those guys are getting ready to come up for boards, and I send them the best wishes for them and stuff. The problem is that right now Jerry Brown leaves office in this November, and depending on who the governor is, if they get a hardline Republican or something there, all the stuff that we've got for the last 8 years will go right out the window.
Terrible, isn't it?
And like I said, and I know guys who have served 41, 43, 45, 55. The longest serving guy I knew did 61 years.
Yeah.
And then he just said, I'm done. And he went and got a hot shot, and he never used dope in his life. But he figured 61 years was just
Overdosed himself.
yeah, because he just was tired.
That's a shame.
Yeah. But there are guys I left behind, even now, who told me that they're not going to boards anymore because they're tired. One guy went in and asked the board for a 15-year denial, and they told him, well, you don't do anything wrong. We can't only give you a 5. He said, give me a 15. I'll be 75 years old when I come next time. Give me another 15, and we're done.
Yeah.
Because he said, I have nothing on the streets. I have no family on the streets. In here, he's the fix-it guy for everybody. All the staff brings stuff to him. He's allowed to have things you're not supposed to have, like soldering irons and tools and stuff. But he's somebody in prison.
Yeah.
And on the prison, he'd be outside, he'd be nothing.
But
But
how about you then? Because you've come back here and you don't have anything. You've got Betty and you've got some people, but your family you came from originally, you probably don't even know hardly anybody here outside a few people who've been helping you.
well, like
How have you coped with all this?
well, it's kind of funny because, like I said, most people have been really kind to me.
Yeah.
I mean, in actuality, one of the best experiences I had was when I went to open my bank account. I went down to Nationwide.
Yeah.
Because PA sent me there, Prisoners Abroad sent me there because that was the one that building thing. They don't ask it much questions. Cause I'd only been here a couple of weeks because I was only had 400 quid when I came back.
Yeah.
To make a new life with. And of course that doesn't go very far when you need to buy stuff that you don't have.
Yeah.
And so I go in there and I meet this really nice guy named Muhammad. And I basically tell him I'm from Prisoners Abroad, got a letter and stuff. So and I give him basically that I was deported and stuff. And I don't go into a whole lot, but I give him some basic stuff. And the guy couldn't do enough to help me get set up and then explain stuff to me and stuff. And then when I went down a couple times after that to deal with some things, he came right out and said, hey, my friend, how are you? And then one day he says, have you seen London? I said, well, not really. I haven't got. He goes, tell you what, sometime if you got a clear calendar, call me. I've told my mom about you and my brothers about you. Mom would like to have you over for dinner and we'd like to take you. Well, I haven't had that to do because they now moved him to another branch.
Yeah.
But the fact that here you'd only known me a couple of times, and yet we had this kind of a take two. And then, like I said, I've met most of Betty's family.
Yeah.
And, been pretty much ingratiated by, a lot of times, and usually a couple times a week I go over to Jim's house. Mm-hmm. And, I've slept over there a couple of times when it's been too late to come back. And, and I've met some of her other family around. There's like only one of her sons I haven't met. And I've met a lot of the grandchildren. They all seem to like me. They if nothing else, I'm just this, unique little character or whatever. I don't know.
You've got this amazing, resilient spirit that just shines through.
Well, like I said, the thing is that I just never saw the reason to give up.
Did you lose your faith in humanity at some point?
No, and I think part of that was because I saw so many people, at least in prison, that I felt were worse off than I was.
Yeah.
And so rather than going, poor me, poor me, poor me, it's like, I got to help this person. I've got to try to make this better. I've got to do it.
And was that cathartic for you, helping people?
It was. It's because, like I said, I'm a medic.
Yeah.
And even as a mechanic, when I worked on bikes, I saw bikes as the same way I saw people.
Yeah.
A frame is the skeletal structure of a bike. The fuel tank is the stomach.
Yeah.
The carburetors are the lungs.
Yeah.
The motor is the heart. Mm-hmm. The transmission is your get up and go. The tires are your legs. Your headlight is your eye. Your tail light. Yeah. Is part of your intuitive what's going on. Mm-hmm. So when I worked on a bike, I looked at it from the electrical system is your nervous system.
Yeah.
Your blood system is your oil lines. Mm-hmm. So I looked at everything that way.